there we go. Alrighty gang, well, I'm in a hammock and it's day 3, so good morning to you. What happened? Went to bed, had a wicked day yesterday, and now I've woken up. Today's going to go a little bit different. I had a really good night's sleep, which is a huge difference on yesterday, but it's going to go a bit different because I'm going to get picked up in a few hours by Tay, and then we're going to have a full day spearfishing with the boys down on Spearfishing Reef, and basically go and shoot some fish. So I'm stoked. So this will be my last day on the island. Hopefully just in a few hours. If the waves aren't too bad for Tay, I'll be getting picked up very shortly, which will be amazing. And then go and spear some fish. So there we go, farewell camp. See you on the flip side. The tide will come in and wash all of that away. Alrighty, let's go. So because I got collected a little bit earlier than anticipated, I didn't have a great chance to kind of set up and show you the pack down of camp. Because I had more rainfall than anticipated, I didn't have the solar to charge my GoPro, so I wanted to save my GoPro battery for the spearfishing. Alright, so breakfast with the boys before we go out on our spear, and we've got boiled goatfish, chili, cassava, bread and chili sauce. Should be good. Hi guys, so we are off spearfishing and we've got a full house today. Got all the boys. So we dropped straight into the water, and don't worry, I know what you're thinking. How can you have this many spearers on one spot? You weren't. Me and one other separated from the rest of the group, got dropped onto the outer reef, and then the other guys headed into the reef to dive the inside in the shallower waters. This dive was quite near the front. The visibility was really good this day, despite it being really choppy, windy and rainy on the surface, and provided excellent opportunities for spearfishing. Here you can see I've got a coronation trout in sight. It's a nice tasty size, and he wasn't sat down too deep either, between 8 and 10 meters. Beautiful coloured fish, and always a tasty treat. Here you can see I'm lining up a moo on the move, but unfortunately these drop shots as you're coming down onto the fish, especially when the fish are taking off on their own little path, are not guaranteed success. This moo just kept on moving. I'm sorry, that was really bad. This is a really common technique for spearfishing around the world, but it definitely works well in Fiji. Just dive into balls of bait. These are fusiliers. Just hang in the bait and you'll see all kinds of snappers, groupers, coral trouts, mackies, all kinds of fish appear on it. Here I'm actually tracing up that midnight snapper that you can see in the distance, just trying to wait for my perfect opportunity to take a shot on him. I'm keeping my eyes off the fish and just letting the gun kind of track the fish until the last moment. Patience is key. I take a shot and he just maneuvers slightly different to what I had anticipated, and I just scuff the tip of his head, so he lives to fight another day. Lucky midnight snapper. Here's some conditions up on top. This is actually one of my favourite conditions to dive in. I find that the fish life just booms when it's a bit stormy, a bit windy, a bit of rain's happening. It's great, especially when diving with a buddy in these situations. Here we can see a Japanese large-eye brim making a move across the reef. I take a shot and it was a bit of a Hail Mary. I get it in the gut and it tears off. This is an awesome cave worth exploring. You'll often find all kinds of trout and grouper sticking their heads out of holes, but then there'll also be chances for mangrove jack and a variety of tropical snappers. hiding in the holes and making use of the shadows and the darkness for ambushing spots to attack smaller fish. Swim throughs are always super fun, just make sure that you don't get snagged up. And this is only a short little one, but still super fun to dive. Definitely one of my favourite things to do from the freediving aspect of spearfishing is discover these holes and swim through them. So going back to what I just said about fish like hiding in these dark spots, check out this brown marbled groper. Does exactly that, hides on the inside of this ledge, just waiting for his opportunity to strike on unsuspecting fish. I get an okay shot in him. I'm quite happy, it's a nice holding shot, but I take him up to the surface. As always, sharks straight on it. That's just a white tip though, so nothing too stressful to worry about. And as you can see, my flopper's started to fail here. I've been using it for about 4 months and had no issues, but it's obviously clipped the reef one too many times and has just started acting up. Beautiful big fish. Absolutely over the moon with this guy. And again, my dive knife still hasn't been replaced. I'm actually carrying a dive knife on this mission, but it's an absolute pain to get back into its holster, so it's easier to make use of your dive buddy and Icky the fish. Control the fish together and put it out. This fish goes by many names, but it was first introduced to me as the brown marbled groper, and it's a really good size healthy fish. You might also know it as a flowery cod, or if you're from Fiji, the kawa kawa. A local favourite, and I can definitely testify this fish tastes amazing, so well worth shooting. Just be aware that in Fiji there is a closed season that operates from about May or June to September, so if you're diving Fiji in these months, just be aware that there's a total ban on these fish and coral trout. The amount of structure that these reefs hold where I'm diving in Fiji is just insane. You could spend weeks upon weeks on a really small patch, finding all kinds of new caves, swim throughs and ledges. The structure here is absolutely amazing and the fish life testifies to that. Here I'm stalking down on some midnight snapper that are held up a little bit deeper, and with these fish I found that it's best to kind of just ignore them completely. Pretend that you are completely disinterested in the fish. There's a white tip. I've got my legs spread over, a bit of coral, and I'm just chilling. I'm trying my absolute hardest to keep my eyes off this fish. Do not make direct eye contact with them. As the fish come up, it's really important not to rush the shot. Just line it up, pick your target, and stone that fish. This makes up for the midnight snapper that I missed earlier. Absolutely stoked with this guy. He's a nice big fish. I'm not being hassled by sharks on the way up, which is fantastic. And I can just get up to the surface with this absolute stonker of a midnight snapper. I'm chuffed. The boats come back just to see how we're doing, and it's a great opportunity for me to drop off this fish. Again, Fiji Reef, just showcasing some of the amazing ledge systems that exist. It's really surprising not to find as much lobster as you would hope because of all of the small ledges and systems and holes that lobster absolutely love. They're just kind of empty, but it's still worth checking for along the way anyhow. Here I'm trying to entice a one-spot snapper to come a little bit closer, but as I drift my way through this channel I kind of lose interest in the fish when he doesn't give me a clean shot and decide to enjoy the swim through. It's not all about shooting fish, although it's about shooting fish, especially if you're hungry. But if you can enjoy the journey of spearfishing as much as you enjoy the targets, you'll never have a bad day out. I guarantee that. Here I'm just holed up on the side of a reef, and I'm not sure what I'm trying to call in at this point. I haven't really seen anything that indicates to me that there's decent fish here, other than there's a decent bit of current ripping through the side of this reef as it channels down. A few little scratches on the side of the reef, ensuring that no coral is damaged, will basically make fish think that you're feeding. They'll come in to see if they can get a little bite themselves. Lights out for this red bass. Now red bass is a fish that you've got to be really cautious with. In Fiji it's called bati, and it can contain ciguatera and make you really sick. I'm just very grateful that on this particular reef there are no reports of ciguatera, and I've been advised by the locals, if I see it, smack it, which I've done. Here you can see a couple of pesky black-tipped reef sharks. They're not giving me too much hassle, but they're something to always be cautious of when diving around in Fiji. It only takes a second for things to go wrong. On this drop dive, I didn't actually anticipate that this was going to become a ledge, what I'm dropping onto, until I made my way down there. And unfortunately, this coral trout chose the wrong time to make his move from his hole. I'll wait until I've got a good lined up shot and try my absolute best to keep this fish out of the reef. As soon as fish hole up in reef, sharks get on them, and 9 times out of 10 you'll just lose your fish. So I've got a nice shot on this coral trout. The spear hasn't gone the whole way through because I'm shooting on 1 band at the moment. Probably should have switched to 2 band, but definitely didn't anticipate coming across an absolute unit like this of a coral trout. I get him up to the surface, the colours start to show. I am absolutely stoked. This is a really good eating fish, and also known as the donu. Look at the colours of this thing. So impressive, and it's a really healthy sized unit as well. Absolutely stoked. Back down for some more diving. I'm starting to feel what I think is acceptable for the day's take, and I'm just enjoying being down in the water. It's great diving with a buddy. From doing 2 days survival on the island and not having anyone around, I had to be really careful on the depths that I was diving and like what was going on with sharks and current and all sorts. So diving with somebody else gives you that extra bit of peace of mind that you can go that little bit deeper and you can enjoy some of the rougher currents and so on to ensure that you come across these like monster fish. So where possible, always dive with a buddy. This swim through channel looks like it was going to hold all kinds of awesome fish for me. There was decent current going through it, and there were plenty of sharks, which is usually a great indicator that there's big predatory fish around as well. But after chilling down mid-water for a while, coming across these 4 white tips, not much else came in. We decided to head into the shallows and put our guns up out of the water so that we could be seen by Tay and the boat and call it for the day. I've got more than I need on this dive, and I'm happy to of course give some of my fish to the village. We get back to the village and unload our catch. Now, I'm absolutely stoked with the fish that I got and happy with that. I've adhered to the Queensland regulations for fish catch sizes, but please note that fish sizes are smaller for certain species in Fiji. So what some of the locals have caught to us might look like the fish are very small, but in Fiji it's allowed. And actually there's a preference for smaller, sweeter fish. So the fish that they target on the reefs are these smaller fish such as soldier fish. So this fish bundle is from our day out on the reef, and yeah, really happy with that. We got some good fish. Now this following scenes might be a bit upsetting to others, but please note this esky of fish is for 15 divers and their families. So once you actually break it all up and there's ice underneath, it kind of makes sense. But what's alarming for most people is the size of the fish. The majority of the fish here are soldier fish and tang, which don't grow particularly large anyways, but every single piece of the fish is eaten. Here's a nice slicing from a unicorn fish. They've got razors on their tails. And here we have my favourite fish and the fish that we chose to keep. So we've got the kawa kawa on top, the coral trout and the midnight snapper. 3 of the tastiest fish on the boat in my opinion, and I can't wait to get stuck into them. Look at the teeth on this thing. The colours, they're just wicked, wicked fish. Great day out. So Clever Sam decided to put his hand over the microphone of the GoPro whilst recording, so not much is captured here, other than me just saying that we've made it back onto the island. Tay's wife's about to cook up an absolute storm for us, and yeah, I'm super hungry because it's been a busy day and lots of swimming in current, but the sun is out and things are good. Sitting down to a lovely meal of fried midnight snapper. Everybody's getting stuck in, eating. This is one of my favourite times, even though quite a lot of the conversations to be had are in Fijian. I'm slowly picking up more and more words and being able to engage in certain parts of the conversation. There's plenty of bones in these fish. They fry them whole and we just eat absolutely every bit. If you ever want to lose weight, come to Fiji and try the fish diet. It just strips everything off you. But there's always chili, taro and cassava going with most meals, and it's super starchy and it will fill you up. Someone might have to write a book on 1001 dishes to serve taro with, because of this stuff comes with every meal here in Fiji, and there are different types of taro too. Alrighty, so I just had a bit of food and a cup of tea. It's lemon tea, it's like a Fijian thing, so yeah, there's lemon trees growing everywhere in Fiji. And you just take the leaves and just have the leaves with hot water and then some sugar, or if you're Fijian, a ton of sugar. And yeah, it's good. I'm just looking out over the water. This is my view and it is magic. But noticeably missing Mala, my Kandavu brother. He's still on the main island. He's coming down tomorrow, I think. So hopefully I'll get to catch up with him and I can say hello to you guys. But yeah, absolute paradise. So after a busy day's dive, we need to, of course, get on the grog, get on the carver, and yeah, good times, share stories. On the high side.
Tonawi samurai.
Oh, semilo ya.
Samurai. Ya, kita lah, ini kita na samurai. Tonawi samurai.